Okay, in this lesson, we're going to look at factoring when there is an a there. So in the previous lesson, we did not have an a there. It just said x squared. And we could do this little trick here where we put the c here and the b here. Well, when that a comes along, that takes this out. You can no longer do that. So you've got to revert back to the distributive property. So what exactly are we doing today? We are still factoring trinomials. So they will still have a degree 2. Remember from the previous lesson, that means that it is a quadratic equation. We will still only be looking at 3 terms, which means we are still looking at trinomials. Now, here is how this lesson differs. Our leading coefficient. Now remember, the leading coefficient is the one who is going to sit in front of x squared. Yesterday, a was 1. Today, we are going to make a prime number. So that takes this little trick graphic organizer out. So let's recall the distributive property. Remember, 2 times x, or 2x times x is 2x squared. Remember outer, inner, so that is a 3x and a 6x for a 9x squared. And remember, last is 9. And we would make our little graphic organizer of George, the little man. Now, this is the distributive property. We are multiplying. That is called factoring. But here is today's lesson. You must guess and check over and over and over until you figure out the factors. The 2 here shows you that it's not going to be 1 times 1 here. You're going to have a number. So these numbers are different today, which affects the guessing and checking. So you're going to have a number here and here. You're going to have a number here and here. Now, these numbers will be factors of A. These numbers are going to be factors of C. Now, the tricky part comes in when you're trying to do these guys to get them to work for B. So if you look back over here, the 2x and the x was factors of 2. So yesterday we just had an x and an x, so it makes it a little easier. Well, you're going to have to put in 2x and x to get that 2 here. Well, at the same time, you've got to get 9 here with c, so it was 3 and 3, but it could have been 1 and 9. But the reason why it was 3 and 3 is because these loops had to work together to give you the positive 9. And if these are both positive, these are both positive, which makes that a positive 9. So once again, you must guess and check over and over and over. Now, we are now going to look at how you factor these, okay? So you always, just like yesterday, check for that greatest common factor. Then you do your factor pairs for A. Now what I mean here is I mean to list your little factors here. So you're going to do factors of A. Here, you're going to do factors of C. And then you guess and check, guess and check, guess and check to get this guy right here to work. So it's a process, and you just have to do it over and over, and you will get good at it. But in the beginning, you may get a little frustrated because it does take a lot of guessing and checking. So now, I would like for you to go ahead and write this problem down in box 1. 3x squared minus 13x minus 10. You will notice it's a trinomial, degree 2. This number is prime. Now, the first thing you would always do is you list your factors of A. That is 1 and 3. You list your factors of 10. That is 1 and 10. This is 2 and 5. Now, what you need to realize, the more factors you list here and here means your guessing and your checking increase. So you really don't want a lot of numbers here. So you're really going to, really want prime numbers. 10 is not a prime number. And now you just guess and check. Now, what I would like for you to do is to copy nothing else down. So just put your pencils down and watch the process. So I'm going to use a dry erase board because it makes the guessing and checking easier. I am going to draw George. So this is where my two binomials go in. Now I have to go through the process of guessing and checking. You just watch the process. I'm going to put a 3x and an x here to give me my 3x squared. That's my only guess for this side, so I know I'm good on those. Now I'm going to guess and check this 1 and 10. So what I would do is I would put a 1 and a 10 in, and now I guess and check. So I know that'll give me a 10. I got to have a negative 10, but these are negative here, so I know I have to have alternating signs on the bottom here. This is 1x, this is 30x. Well, I stop. These no way can combine to give me negative 13. So that first guess did not work, so I erase everything. Now I put the 10 here, and I put the 1 here. Fill my loops in again. I get excited. Oh, this is going to work. A negative and a negative. Oh, good. This will give me a negative 13 in the middle. So I think I'm finished until I go back and check it. A negative 10 and a negative 1, it gives me a positive 10. So that, although worked in the middle, it failed when I checked the C. So that did not work. So I mark those out. And now I erase everything, including those signs. So now I go on to the 2 and the 5. So I'm going to put the 5 in here, the 2 here, 5x plus 6x. It's another bad guess. 5 and 6 makes 11. Bad guess. So I only have one guess left. So the only guess I have left to do is to put the 2 here and the 5 here. Now, I get a 2x and I get a 15x. Now I've got something. I need a negative 13. If I make the 15 negative and this 2 positive, I can get a negative 8 or a negative 13. So if I put the negative here to give me the negative 15, the positive here to give me the positive 2, I think I've got it. So let's check it. 3x times x is 3x squared. Positive 2x, negative 15x gives me negative 13. I've got it. And then I've got a 2 and a negative 5 gives me a negative 10. So I just found how to factor that with a lot of guessing and checking. So I am now going to write down my answer. So you pick your pencil back up and write. It was 3x plus 2 times x minus 5. Now remember, those are factors. If you factor it and it looked like this, that is the same answer by the commutative property. I can switch those around. So it's almost like you are figuring out a puzzle with these factors. You guess and you check until you get the correct answer. Now go to box 2. I'm going to give you one to try on your own, except I'm going to give you one with only prime numbers. So 3x squared minus 8x minus 11. You have a 1 and a 3 for factors of 3, and you have a 1 and an 11 with a factors of 11. Now, you only have a few guesses, so what I would like for you to do is pause the video, see if you can get this to work. Okay, this is how I have found my numbers to be placed. I think I can have some success with this. I have an 11x here. I have a 3x here. I need a negative 8. That means the 11 will be negative, the 3 will be positive. So I'm going to put the negative here, the positive here, and now check. I've got the middle checking. 3x times x is 3x squared. Negative 11 and 1 will give me negative 11. It checks out. So my answer is 3x minus 1 times x plus 1. Remember, that's the only way that that answer can look as far as factors go. Okay, let's try another one. Go to box 3. This one is 2x squared plus 7x plus 6. Now this one has one added factor. You're going to have a 1 and 2 here because remember today a is prime. And with 6, you're going to have 1 and 6, and you're going to have 2 and 3. So for this one, pause the video again. You're going to have several more guesses and checks. Try to get that one to work out. Okay, I was not successful with 1 and 6. I tried several things that did not work. I have managed to put the 3 and the 2 in like this. And I do believe this is 3x. This one is 4x. I need a 7. Everything's positive, so everything will stay positive. So here, 2x squared. Here is a positive 6, and here will be a 7x. So the correct way to factor this one is 2x plus 3 and an x plus 2. So notice how the steps just kind of a little increased for you. The one I did, I had several guesses, so I let you try one with prime numbers, not as many guesses. And then I gave you a 6, didn't have too many factors, and ended up with this one. So now go to box 4, okay, and this is going to be your box 4. 2x squared plus 5x minus 18. So I'm upping it just a little bit more. So you have a 1 and 2 here for this prime number, and 18 has 1 and 18, has 2 and 9, and it has 3 and 6. So you're going to have quite a few more guesses with these numbers. So once again, pause the video, try it. Okay, for number 4, I was not successful with 1 and 18. I was not successful for 3 and 6. I did find a perfect combination with 2 and 9. This one will be 9x. This one will be 4x. Now I notice that's a negative. These must be different. The 4 is a negative, the 9 is a positive to give me the positive 5. So plus, minus, check, 2x squared, check, negative 18, the middle, check. But you'll notice that that one probably took a little bit more time. Now, last one is number 5. And this one is going to be a little different. If you notice, all the problems so far have had prime numbers for a. So question 5 is going to be different. So this one is 6x squared plus 10x plus 4. You will notice 6 is not a prime number, but you should also notice something else. 6, 10, and 4 all have a greatest common factor. You check that first. Otherwise, you would be checking 1 and 6, 2 and 3, 1 and 4, 2 and 2. It's a lot of checks. Well, if you realize the greatest common factor will factor out of that, you take out 2 of these possibilities. So watch what happens. 2 times 3x squared plus 5x plus 2, because I divided a 2 out of everything. And now look at what you have left. Okay, so now we can go ahead and say 2 times the binomials. And if you look at what you have left, you do have the 1, 3, and you have a 1, 2 left. So let's just go ahead and see if we can guess and check our way. Let's put the 2 here and the 1 here. So we have a 2x and we have a 3x, which will give us 5x if they're both positive. So this is a plus and this is a plus. Now let's check it. 3x times x is 3x squared. 2 times 1 is 2, and the middle part will work. So the final answer is a 2 outside, 3x plus 2, and an x plus 1. So what happens if someone doesn't realize that they can take out the greatest common factor? Well, I need you to kind of look back up at the directions on your notes. It says factor completely. That means to get everything broke down as far as can go. So I want you to look at these 2 examples. These 2 examples show that someone did not realize that they could take out the greatest common factor. And this combination actually works, but you'll notice something. These are not completely factored. This will take a 2 out of it, and this will take a 2 out of it. And even though they are in different positions, it's the same factors. So that's why it says factor completely. This concludes this